you may have seen, if you're already onto posts that have gone to social media sites, but I got invited to Clubhouse over the, well, I spoke to Roy early in the week, and I'm a bit like, oh, okay, really? Clubhouse? Do I really need to be on that? But hey, Emily, how you going?
Hey. I'm good. How are you?
Awesome. I was just talking about Roy inviting me and telling me how awesome Clubhouse was, and I was a bit like, okay, I saved my judgment, but anyway, I happened to sort of on Saturday morning just happened to open up the app, and then I don't know if I got a notification. That's the other thing. You get so many notifications from it. But anyway, I jumped in, and it was pretty bloody awesome, right? In terms of all of a sudden these people that you're connected with on LinkedIn. And or not connected with but would like to connect with, or maybe it makes sense for you to be connected with, I was in a room with, right? Because Roy was there and he was moderating, and then he had me sort of join in. It's almost like they call it sort of going up on stage, but really it just means certain people can be speaking and the other people are just listening. Yeah. And so it was pretty damn fine. And so today is going to have a Clubhouse flavor, because I think we should be on it and at least be aware of it, because I think there's going to be all sorts of advantages for yourselves, for us, for our network, by being early on it and early understanding it. It's a very simple platform, and understanding what the benefit. The thing that's probably may well open us up a little bit more to is the fact that it makes us a lot more. It's very global at the moment, so the people are on it that are sort of UK and US, and so all of a sudden you sort of get more exposure to a more global network, perhaps rather than Australian only. But yeah, without getting into too much, that was one of the things in lockdown that I found myself having listened to, and because I'm on it now, I'm getting all these notifications. I have made it so it's infrequent, but I still feel like I'm getting a lot of notifications buzzing on my phone. But the plan today is that I'll invite. You only get one invite initially, but I've now had another 3 invites given to me. And funnily enough, the first invite that I got, just because he was top of mind, was the guy that I don't know if you saw last week talked about Google Day, G Day, and he was he was talking about what would happen if Google leaves Australia. So Harry Sanders is quite knowledgeable around. He's a local guy here in Melbourne, and he's, award-winning with Studio Hawk, SEO side of things. But he's quite involved in the sort of community rather than just be a do SEO, right? So anyway, I sent it to him, and then I've got a message this morning that says, "Oh, sorry, I've only got Android. You actually need an iPhone or iPad."
Okay.
So if you've got, has anybody not got iPhone or an Apple or an iPhone or an iPad out of us? Ben, I say, Ben, that's going to make it hard. I don't know how I'm going to get one to you there. I don't know how we work that, right? So, because my plan was I give it to you, but without an Apple product at the moment, you can't get on. Well, not an Apple product. It's actually only an iPad or iPhone, because it's an app, right?
Yeah. What does it do? Can you explain a little bit what exactly?
We're gonna watch a little video, a Social Media Examiner one. We'll watch it today. So basically, we've got that, and yeah, that's sort of our presentation today. It goes about 10 minutes, right? So it's the guy from, and we'll have a listen, because he gives a good overview, which is kind of what I was learning on a Saturday morning, which they were explaining to me, right? But this was a good overview, which if I'd watched, then I would have felt less like a newbie. But I think the reality at the moment is everybody's a newbie. Yeah. So yes. So anyway, well, in fact, it's 27 past 11, so we haven't heard. How did you spend your weekends, those that aren't in lockdown?
I talked to some friends online from home. That was my big thing.
Nice.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, I did a pretty low-key weekend, saved some money, which was good.
How are your relatives going, Emily? Well, not just relatives, but friends and people back home?
Bad.
Bad, yeah?
Well, I mean, they're just used to it now.
The cases are going down though, aren't they, Emily? Because of the vaccine rollout.
Yes and no. So cases are getting better. Trump under-ordered vaccines. Then there are cases of right-wing healthcare employees destroying it when it gets to their hospital. Wow. They believe in it. Yeah. And my sister's getting a vaccine because she works in an office building, but my mom hasn't gotten one yet as a teacher. So it's a bit confusing and scattered, but it looks like it'll be better in the next 6 months or so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So in terms of how restricted are they in terms of what they can do? I mean, what does it look like over there?
It's a state by state.
Not really.
Yeah. Okay.
What?
Is it a state-by-state cases?
It's a state-by-state base, yeah. So my sister's in Massachusetts, which is very liberal. And so they have crazy restrictions. She's from Jersey, obviously, so she had to get her license changed over because if she was pulled over with a Jersey license, she could get in trouble because she's technically breaking curfew and stuff. But then my cousin lives in Miami, and he's been clubbing, so...
Right.
Yeah, there's no...
That's crazy with Miami because the stereotype is there'd be a lot of people of the age bracket you'd think would die with COVID, right?
Well, there's that, but then Miami's known for just being very party-centric.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of young people in Miami, whereas opposed to the Panhandle or whatever, Florida, which is more old people.
It's funny because I don't know about you guys, but when it first came out, the general... sense. I remember Huon coming back from England, and one of the guys that was in the network that she had over there just said, and I think he was at Oxford or somewhere where they were almost researching into it, right? But very early doors, they just said, you need to treat this as if it's going to kill you. And if you don't want to treat it like it's going to kill you, treat it like it's going to kill your grandma.
Yeah.
Basically, the reality is, if you have that mindset, right, you don't want to catch it, and you don't want to be the person that killed your grandma. I guess the reality is, but that's why it always surprises me, as you said, with that sort of liberal, the people who are sort of going out clearly don't have that mindset.
That's what happens. Unfortunately, that's the stance of the Republican Party, is that it's not that serious. So in states with Republican governments, they're not doing anything.
All right.
It's a mess.
It is a mess. Well, it's good that we're all well and we're looking after each other, and that Hannah's saved some money on the weekend.
Ben, are you guys still in lockdown, or are you done?
We are done.
Nice.
We're done. I am free to do as I please. All is well in the world here in WA. And again.
Now, me and Adrian probably don't have time to especially do a run through nowadays, Adrian, do we? So I'm just going to go. I'm just going to go with what we've got today, and then you can tell me if I've done something wrong here. So clearly, this is our normal agenda. I do try and get this out. I don't know whether it's probably given there's no advantage putting it out Sunday, so I just put it through to you on the calendar. I have tried to update this now, so at least you know what we're going to talk about, and those are probably pretty small on your screen, but clearly we always have the same flow through. We are going to talk about the Clubhouse app, but I was also reminded for me, Ben, at some stage we'll share to everybody around, the chat that we had with Suzanne, because that had been an idea. I don't think that we'd want everybody necessarily to sit in this meet because that went for quite a bit longer than 10 minutes, right? But we'll share that. Also, I did say to her we'd probably try and get a copy of her book to everybody, right? So, again, it's a way of me being accountable, Ben, that we might. She's another one actually that I'm sure would be really enjoy and should be invited to the Clubhouse app. So we might keep that in mind for her. Adrian's coming up next week. The other thing is, it's very obvious when I'm talking to people. I think in green, anybody, Anthony, a bit early doors for you yet, but Hannah, are you in green? Emily, are you in green?
I'm in green, yeah.
I'm in yellow.
All right, but you have got something else that's pretty impressive, so that's okay.
Yeah.
Adrian, you're in green.
Yeah, I'm in green.
I'm told that. So just so you can be on this list, Emily, you're still leading most one-to-ones for the month, though, weren't you?
Third month in a row, guys.
And do you know how much it was?
Jeez.
Do you know how many?
Not this month. The whole chapter only had 37 in January because we were only open for half of the month. But
How many did you do out of that 37?
I didn't feel like that many. The 2 months before it had been 22 each time, but this time I think it was only like maybe 7 or 8 because we were closed for 2 weeks. So I'm going to sneeze.
She's got some fairly good tips around that though, because she meets regularly with people from her chapter, and then she logs the one-to-one with me, I imagine, and as I do with you guys. Well, in fact, I let you guys log that one, and then I don't relog it. Yeah, so that's good. But you're also pretty high, Ben, I think. Anybody else have most one-to-ones in their chapter? I certainly do, so I'm going to put myself down there.
Nice.
Yeah.
No, we just got a new member.
I'm also
as soon as we get a new member, new members got most one-to-ones easily.
Yeah. Yeah, Oliver's just saying hello. Yeah, it's the team, Oliver. Yeah, there's the Diffy shirts he's saying. He's admiring the branding there. He's got his own. But there you go. You can have old school one. All right, yeah. Given we're in lockdown, if I didn't tell you guys already, that means there's no school today. Oh, and we got fish over the weekend, so he's come down. Don't play with the fish, though. Don't put your hand in there. You can give him some food. All right.
I saw that.
Yeah. All right. So, I'd say around audits and consults, I could be wrong, but I'm fairly sure, Ben, you're going to be up there for that because you've got the clients coming on. So I'm assuming the clients and the clients also became the setup at one-to-ones. Anyway, I'm trying to keep this as up to date as possible as well. We do have David Jennings, who's confirmed as being our guest on the 15th. We need to decide what we want to do on the 8th of March because it's a public holiday. So whether we maybe meet on the Tuesday that week instead, because I think it's probably worth us having our weekly catch-up in any case, is just to make sure it doesn't cross over with anybody maybe having setups or anything along those lines. We've got Adrian. Yep.
Sorry, is it a public holiday? Wait, you said the 8th of March is a public holiday.
Yeah, I think so.
Is that for the whole of Australia?
I think so.
It just says Victoria.
Yeah, I don't have that off.
Is it really?
And
Labor Day.
ACT, Tasmania, and South Australia.
Okay.
Fine. Take your holiday. I just.
Okay. Well, maybe we need to determine then. Okay, I didn't realise. Well, that's why this works good, right?
Ben, yours is the week before.
Yeah, yours is the first.
Okay, so
do we have one, Hannah? No.
Probably, but it's probably at another time of the year.
So this is, I guess, then we start to have the option, so like we've done previously, right? We are recording these, so at the end of the day, if it's not a holiday where you are, then you can take a holiday. But just as I said to Hannah last week, just let me know if you've watched the YouTube video, right? So you can always have a listen. You're just not part of it. So I'm taking you for your word then, Hannah. But yeah, that's actually another good reason for actually looking at this to start with, so that we kind of know what's going on. And Adrian's going to share next week, Adrian. So the main thing would probably be when we do that is all it would probably require is that sort of opening slide for you. The one that we do a little bit about me sort of thing, so that we put that into next week's presentation. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yep. And let's just do that, and then we'll go through that. Sweet. All right. So I'm thinking we might head back up to Queensland today because although I'm not sure it's their turn, but just in terms of how we go around the country. But is that okay, Adrian? Do you want to tell me who we thought we was going to be next week? Do you remember?
Me.
I think it was Hannah.
That's right.
Because I was supposed to go last week, so no. I think I'm this week.
Awesome. That's fantastic to know.
Do I start? Yeah. Good morning, everyone. Today we acknowledge that we're on the traditional lands of the Kulin Nation. Do I then run through what we're doing?
You can just do. We can do the we offer our respects part.
We offer our respects to the owners of these traditional lands, and through them to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples, past and present.
Yeah. And I think we've talked enough about the layout of today.
So at Dify Social, our mission is to protect, build and grow small businesses using social media marketing. Our purpose is to gain competitive advantages for these businesses using social media marketing tactics that include Facebook advertising to attract and retain more customers. This week, my value will be...
I think we were sticking... What one did we say we were going to stick with? Were we going to...
Passion.
Yes, right, because I think, we decided we're going to do stick with one for the month. I have a feeling passion is often yours anyway, Hannah. Would that be right?
Yeah, I always do, yeah. So passion, I think, is extremely important when working in social media marketing because, in a sense, we have to... It's sort of creative in some sense what we do, and, you know, anything that you create or do or you know, managing for clients is automatically going to be better if you're passionate about it. So we'll perform a high standard of work if we are passionate about the content that we are creating for our clients.
Cool.
So the aim of our objectives at Dify Social is to attract and retain more customers. We do this by protecting and building equity in your brand, differentiating your brand and business. We be on top of mind with your target communities and audiences. We increase business development opportunities using marketing tactics to driving our target audience to explore their interests and inquire. At Dify Social, we offer our services as products. So all our prices are clearly labelled on our website. We don't do smoke and mirrors. Everything can be found based on whether you want to do a setup, a management plan or a strategy session. It is all found there, plain and clear.
Another thing probably what I've started to add, you know, particularly when sending the brochure out, is it's our why, what and for how much document. You could easily say the same thing as far as the website is concerned. You know, all of our costs are actually on the website as well, and the fact that we do coin now too, it just means that it saves yourself with people that, you know, lets them do a little bit of research. Most people are going to do some research nowadays, right? So hopefully it means you're not going to get phone calls from people then, you know, thinking that we do it for for peanuts, or they're just not aware of our pricing. So it can save yourself, you know, I don't know if you found you already have these conversations, but, you know, where you almost feel like you're telling them and it's obvious they haven't looked at a brochure or a website. Have you guys already found you sort of have those conversations with people in your BNI?
A little bit.
Yeah. So certainly I get a lot of it where it's just people on a whim because someone said they should ring me because they heard I do social media, right? So they ring me, right? And they do no research whatsoever into social media or into Dify Social. So it's often just worth pointing out, I'll have a read of the brochure, then give us a call. You know what I mean? So then if you've got feedback or things, because then straight away, if they have a look at pricing and they might be brand new and the pricing might straight away just knock them out, right? So that might be the case. Or they might be a startup or whatever the case might be. But it just means that you've probably got a much better chance of a decent conversation if they've got a little bit of knowledge around what you do. Similarly on LinkedIn, I don't know if you get these, right, but where you've got people, or it could be a spammy email, where they tell you they want to do your social media marketing. It's a bit like, have you read what we do?
Yeah, I get that all the time.
Yeah. So the same sort of thing, right? So people want to have a meeting with you or connect with you so that you might want to do their social, you know, it's a bit like, well, I don't think you've read what we do. Anyway.
This is our Dify Social strategic marketing model, which outlines how we do business and provide our services. So at the section in the top left is your small business house, where social media marketing sits within communications. At Dify Social, we focus on communicating from people to people. So we aim to improve the online presence of your business so you can easily communicate and connect with your target audience, network, rivals, etc. We consider ourselves to be an affordable social media marketing service because we specifically repurpose content and information from your website and share it across the 6 main social media channels. As we always talk about, we social proof your website for marketing communications by, ensuring that your social media accounts are easily accessible from your website. The Yellow Social Media Report says that less than 50% of small businesses have used social media marketing. However, 90% of Australians use social media marketing every day, and only 13% have a marketing strategy.
Correct, yeah.
Yeah, that's everything.
And maybe just that return on investment. Ultimately, just getting back to that pricing, we have the once-off things that we do for social media so that you're ready, because that's another thing. Ben and I've had a few conversations around that recently where people expect that, here you go, here's the keys to my social media, just get on and manage, right? So often we have to explain why we do the audit so we can work out what the gaps are. Yeah, I know you don't have to go into that much detail, but the idea is the reason that we have an audit and consult in the first place is because until we know what the gaps are and the opportunities look like, we can't come in and tell you what we're going to do, right, around setup, planning and management. So there is a cost to audit and consult, but we waive that if you progress. And again, we need to be clear around what, sometimes people hear we waive and they go, oh, I thought you meant you waived the whole setup and planning. No, we waived the audit and consult because it took us 2 hours to do that, right? But if you don't go ahead, then we're going to charge you for that 2 hours, right? So I had instances last week where we did charge the audit and consult, right? So that was a gym business, a home gymnasium stuff, and that's okay. They're cool with that because they received information from us how we would do it for them. I had an instance last week, Anthony, I don't know if you know this, right, where Mariana with the first aid side of things came on pretty quick, right? And she got confused around what was being waived, right? So then she felt like she'd paid the management. Oh, but how come it's 1,177? Oh, because that's your first month's management plus the 5 hours that we spent together, right? And she was like, oh my gosh, I hadn't realized, right? So people, again, even once they've come on, doesn't necessarily they've read every element of. So we do need to be clear. Hence, we record a lot of stuff. But anyway, bottom line is return on investment is ultimately people will stay with us if they feel like they're getting value, right? So if they feel like they are getting return on their investment, they'll stay with us, right? And the reality is, if they don't, they'll leave. And it might not always be our fault, but if they just don't feel like they're getting more than what they were before, or get more business, then they probably won't stay on. That's just how it tends to go. The other thing I was thinking, Ben, which is another takeaway from last week, is that sometimes doing the social media planning helps. Would it be fair to say, Ben, that it helped Denise and Lisa think about how their website should look?
Yeah. Yeah, like in terms of, like when we go through the setup and we sort of go and say, oh, you need to change this on your website, you need to do this, and then they can sort of go, yeah, okay, cool, we'll go take that away before we do the planning and before we get the advertising set up, because they probably want their website set up correctly before they start advertising.
Yeah, so it was a really interesting example where they had a very corporate looking banner on their website, which is the entry banner. And yet they really do bookkeeping for tradies, right? Which is beautiful for Ben because that's a target for Ben as well. But the reality was you wouldn't think that the website was talking to tradies and paperless bookkeeping necessarily, right? It certainly looked corporate. So, but if I'd normally gone the way I would look at it and go, well, okay, we just want to we want it to be consistent, so we use that same banner you have on your website and we'll put that all on your social media. Well, they arced up about that. They didn't want to do that because they didn't see that as being the story they want to tell anymore, right? So what they'll finish up doing, I believe, Ben, is they'll probably grab a more trade-like image or somewhere where they're talking to trades type people and put that as the banner image, or at least one of them on the website, so you get that consistency. Cool. Thanks, Hannah.
That's all right.
And I'd just like to welcome our newest member to the BNI family. Is that the right word? Anthony, that would be you.
Yeah.
So clearly you must have done enough to impress them, to impress upon them the value you will bring to BNI business builders.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
Yeah. So it's interesting now that we've actually got BNI every day of the BNI week. So we've got Emily on Tuesday morning in person. We've got 3, Adrian, Anthony, and Hannah on Wednesday morning with Adrian and Anthony still online. We've got Emily. Oh, sorry. Who's Thursday? We're at Ben. Sorry, Ben in person on Thursday. And then me on Friday, right? So we've got a really good blend of at least how we work. So, and one of the things that probably I think we'll talk a little bit more going forward is, but I'm seeing in our discussions and probably in our numbers is I think we all suffer slightly from the same where our strengths lie and where our weaknesses are. So clearly we want to work more on where our weaknesses are. So I think referrals is tough, full stop. Yeah. Just so you know, giving referrals is tough, full stop. There is an element, remember that video we talked about where there are certain members, unless you're giving them referrals, they're, whilst givers gain, they would be called matches. There's no way they're going to ever give you a referral back if you're not giving them referrals, right? There's just certain people in BNI because of the way that they would be, their mindset probably, right? Yeah. So we need to be good at giving referrals, and I include myself in this same bucket. It's not my strength. It would be my weakest element of certainly giving referrals where they convert into thank you for closed business, right? Because my sense is sometimes I'll ask them, right? I'll say, look, I think this is somebody you really should be introduced to. I'm not sure whether it's a referral. What do you think? And then I'll wait for them to tell me whether they think it's a referral. So by way of an example, there's a guy in my chapter who's an IT guy. He has an app, and he thinks it's going to really change the way IT people do IT. So I introduced him to an investor locally, right, and an investor that sort of does software and that sort of stuff. And I just said to him, I introduced him to 3 people, and they're all a bit similar in that I think these are going to be good people for you to know to scale your business, to invest in your app. And the third one, I can't recall what that was. But anyway, they were all introductions in the truest sense because they weren't likely to convert the next day. Does that make sense? You know, he's not going to get business straight away from that, right? But clearly, if an investor invests in him and then he has a network to get that out, then clearly that could well be the best referral he's ever going to get. So the way I tend to do it with those ones, if it's just an introduction and I've done it by LinkedIn, I've said, oh, hi, Ryan, here's Andy, then I just do it as a 1 or 2 type referral. It's pretty low, right? But the reality is that could turn into a very high thank you for closed business if it works out the way it might work out. But anyway, that's just in my sense is I think we need to keep talking to each other about how we can get better at referrals, and particularly referrals that are meaningful. Ben was a good referral last week for me, right? So Ben referred Lisa from the bookkeeping business in Melbourne, who then I was able to invite as a visitor to my chapter, right? So in a way, we can do not only cross-chapter type referrals, we can do cross-chapter and cross-Dify social slips, realistically, right? We're already doing one-to-one cross-chapter slips, but we can also be doing things along the lines. Emily, it springs to mind last week you spoke about we need real estate people in my business, right? Oh, yeah. So realistically, or in your chapter, realistically, it wouldn't be that hard for me to go in LinkedIn and go, okay, who am I connected to that has a real estate type bent in LinkedIn, and to connect them and introduce them to you. Similarly, what I was saying to Adrian, we need a bookkeeper and we need printer, right? So I go and connect with those people in the first place. Let's say it's 10 people that were second connections. And then of the 3 or 4 that then connect with me, I then ask them whether they'd be interested in coming along to my BNI. Simple as that, right? So to me, I've said to you guys before, to me, visitors are a referral to the chapter. That's how I think of visitors, right? Also, you can clearly get the stat, BNI cross-chapter visitors is really important for Dify Social, because I would say that certainly myself, I get a much higher cross-chapter referral and higher even cross-chapter one-to-ones often than I am internal with my own chapter. Yeah. So always think about cross-chapter, who people you might invite to the chapter. They still count as in visitors. Think about people you might refer from other chapters if you don't have that member within your own chapter. Yeah. So particularly within your own states, think about that sort of cross-chapter referral opportunity and cross-slip referral type opportunity. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yep.
And Anthony, I reckon you'll probably be doing your hand on the heart thing this week. Did everybody else have to do that, hand on heart?
Yeah.
I never did it, no.
What is that?
I never did it.
You're supposed to like swear into the values, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys do this?
Yeah.
The cult of
Yeah.
Because it's American?
It is very American.
It is very American. You do like the Freemasons handshake as well.
Yeah.
You just-
Well, I was going to say it's very American / religious almost.
We do this every when we pledge allegiance to our flag, which is so cultish to begin with. But,
Well, same with citizenship is another thing. When Huong got citizenship, she did the same thing. Yeah. It is very similar to that. But hopefully you'll get to do that, Anthony, as taking over in the charge. Because it is Wednesday, I don't know if you've got your Connect thing. You possibly haven't, but I might come along as a visitor to watch that swearing of allegiance. Might be good because I can do that now. So there, awesome. And here's another 5-star review that we got.
Oh,
from Sally Ann Luders from Lim Live. The online experience has been fantastic. One click and you're basically sitting opposite me in my office.
Oh.
I'll need to commend you and Emily on your patience and customer skills. I have honestly taken so much from our little chats and try to take action these skills in my daily happening, but just don't seem to have the patience yet. However, I'm working on that one. Thank you both once again for everything, Sal. That's pretty good.
Cool.
So, I think I've had about 5 or 6 reviews that have come in over the last week. I put one out for Carlton. Hopefully he gets it in his inbox because I'm figuring with Carlton, we're not sure when we're not going to be doing reports. Usually, I wait until we've done our first report before we do the review. Hannah maybe will do. I'm not sure if she's written one in yet, but I know we've got the 5-star that's come back from Wendy from Myasons.
Oh, great.
You know what? We have a lot of Wendy's that we work with. Maybe our avatar, we'll have to change the name to Wendy. We've got 3 Wendy's at least. We've got Wendy who?
We've got Wendy. Do Wendy and Wayne, because I'm talking to a lot of
Oh,
Waynes
yeah.
at the moment.
Maybe we have to move from Peter to from Peter Peters and shift our avatar to Wendy and Wayne. I love it. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I love it. It's not because my Uncle Peter passed recently. It's a bit sad. Anyway.
Yeah.
So it's great. So the great thing clearly for me is, I love it. It's not, even in that one, Emily, you're mentioned. So I love it even more,
cool.
right?
Yeah.
And I'm sure the reality is going to be that's going to happen all the time now because it's not really, it's Adrian's their guy or Hannah's their girl or Anthony as well. So the reality is I'd much prefer others' names. We've talked a little bit. So well done, you guys. It's awesome. So, and again, Adrian spent a lot of time last week, or certainly an increased amount of time, and is continuing to do so, just to touch base with some of these clients that we've been working with for quite a long time, but perhaps still think of Steve as the guy, right? So we're trying to make it that they get away from that thinking, is that, realistically, we all follow the same model, we're all using the same processes, and we're all working together, right? So, and it'll also soften the blow. So in the same way as we celebrate the victories, if and when we do happen to lose people, then it won't just be me that will be feeling like I have to mourn. We can mourn together. So anyway, and sometimes there's elements which you guys know as well. What are they called? There's the regrettable losses, and there's those ones that really you do mourn. We will be mourning together. Cool. Huong doesn't seem to stop in on these calls. She's definitely not going to be here today because Oliver's at home. Just probably, so you do know, Huong, the main part's clearly Huong's helping me. There's 2 main parts in actual fact at the moment around payroll. each week. So just each fortnight, I should say. Everybody should have now, for the ones you're managing, you're all on that sort of level 1 now. And clearly there's bonus where you've brought them on as well. So awesome, way to go. It's probably that you won't always be marrying up at exactly the same time, but there's an element of that you may well also, if that makes sense, is that you kind of are sort of all tracking in the same way. Certainly there's some things that you might do better and more so than others, but realistically we're sort of tracking quite similar given we've all started at the same sort of time. I'll leave Huang up just because similarly, just remind me, I spoke with Adrian, but I'll speak with everybody about it. So on Friday, I had to apologise to Ben for taking too much of his lead airtime with the new client. It was just a setup session. But what it sort of tells me is once people get to that sort of third and fourth time, and particularly where Ben had already done one with Carlton where I didn't come on until the end, is that you're well and truly capable of leading, right? And particularly online, it's not always that easy to pick up whether whether I should or you should, right? So I made the mistake of picking up on the wrong signal. So there was 2 real takeaways for me for Friday, and they were firstly, from now on, I think you're all capable of leading the setup sessions. I believe that, right? Secondly, I'm there, but we should always use, the LinkedIn sidebar, so we can always have a direct message, right? So then, if you get stuck on a particular channel, or even if it's as simple as what should I do next, Steve, right? Or if you just want to sing out, Steve, can you just come in for a second, cover me for, so just so we can sing out to one another. It's separate from the client and we can actually have that communication going, right? So if you do get stuck, and it might be some of you might say, look, Steve, I'm happy for you to leave through this section, right? Because we are all on slightly different paths, right? So, but clearly I needed to be told by Ben that, he's happy to go with that, right? So as I said, 2 main learning is I think it's better for you to you can all swim now, right? It's not really like throwing you in the deep end. I think you can all swim. I also said to Ben, there's an element for me, when it's your baby, you tend to then start to become a bit controlling and a bit freaking out. I become a bit anal on the way that I do it. And realistically, it doesn't matter. I'm probably, you guys and me are probably the only guys that know that there's a particular way that I would do it. The clients aren't going to know that, right? So it doesn't really matter if, for instance, if Ben opens YouTube before Google, then really, who gives a shit, realistically, right? But because I'm so kind of, it's my baby and I become so whatever, there's an element I think, that's the way it has to be done. But what I'm saying to you is as long as we get it done and we get it done in a particular way, and we all learned from that, then it's advantageous. And it's certainly the major thing is that you're able to get it done, right? Ultimately, we want you to be able to do it, and it's a great thing that Ben has that confidence to be able to lead and be able to do that through that session without me being involved, realistically. And there is also the thing is when we're doing that, I can always do a bit of tidy up and feedback when we're doing the write-ups as well, early doors, if that makes sense. Is that okay?
Yeah, perfect.
That makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Cool. All right. But the other thing we're also, just again, I've encouraged a few, it's really probably Hannah, Anthony, and me are all on Coin, right? So the other thing is I'm being very, because basically those that are on Coin are getting paid in Coin as if it's, it's no different to being paid in Australian dollars, but we're keeping very close records of that in and out. There was quite a good thing that was shared on one of the groups around Coin, but effectively, I think from a tax perspective, if we're using it as virtually a transactional account, it may well have some tax advantages for us as well, right? So because we're literally paying people, we're receiving it, we're taking money out, we're being very transactional. So it's not necessarily an asset. You know what I mean? So capital gains and that sort of stuff, just so you guys are aware. But I would encourage you, Adrian, Ben, and Emily, to speak with Melissa, because I think she takes the pain away. Realistically, if you've got any questions, she'll just go, do this, and then I'll do that. She'll set you up,
She's
right?
Yeah, she's unreal.
Yeah, so cool. Yeah, it was pretty straightforward. I think, Anthony, you did she set your ABN up with you or tell you how to do it? Yeah.
Yeah, she literally, I didn't have to stress it or nothing. She just did it all with me.
Yep. Yeah. Cool. So this week, clearly we're not too stressed out by our timings, right? But what I want each week is actually to talk about something, just a takeaway. So when we talk about wins for the week, we could still do something around B&I, but I just want you to talk about something that you took away from the week from a client, existing or new, report or other, just about that client, right? So I want us to sort of know and understand that we all kind of have an understanding and we are sort of learning a little bit. And so maybe just a little win that you feel like you had with a client last week. And let's try and mix it up. So it might be something slightly different from the previous week, right? So I think, this month, for the balance of this month, let's just talk about our clients that we're working with and some of the things that, how we're supporting those clients. Does that sound okay?
Yeah.
Yep.
Awesome. Because we're doing great things, guys. I'm pumped with the ones that have been ongoing, but also the new ones clearly. But yeah, there's some really good things happening. So, and I don't want it just to be that I'm the only one hearing when you guys tell me in a one-to-one, the stuff you've been doing. It's good. I think that others get to hear that as well. So don't be too stressed on your time's up. It's good to feel like we're sort of sharing some of those little stories of what you've done with some of the clients as well as what's happening in your B&I. Yeah. Cool. So I will start the ball rolling, and because me and Adrian didn't do it, I haven't even given that any thought, so I'm going to have to go off the top of my head. My name is Steve Hubbard, and I am your certified practicing marketer and marketing graduate from Monash University, based here in Footscray, Melbourne, where I've lived and worked for more than 12 years now. I'm originally a Freo boy, and my current local council is the city of Maribyrnong, which Melbourne City Council may buy at some stage. My win for the week, well, as I said, I probably shared it in a way. I think really being able to be involved, particularly with, you know what, because that's probably going to be, it's probably going to be Ben. So I'm not even going to talk about that one. I'm going to talk about the first aid, so the growth training group. That was a really good win, I think, for us last week because she's a very active B&I person as well. So I just know that she's going to hopefully, she already, before we sent out Gather Up, she already gave us a Google review. I think that was because she was a bit apologetic because she didn't realise the pricing. And so she straight away gave us a Google review to make us feel good about what we'd done, Anthony, on the day. Yeah, I think she's going to be a fabulous client because not just because of what she enables us to share as a training organisation, but because of the voice that she has cross-chapter from a B&I perspective. From a B&I networking perspective, I actually gave a fabulous referral. Someone from my my beach volleyball community had asked the question, does anybody know who I could speak to? And we're looking for homes, right, to buy a home. And I said in this thread, oh, you could speak to this guy in my B&I. He's a business broker. Now, she chose not to do that, but someone else saw that. And then somebody else in the beach volleyball community said, oh, Steve, what's the name of that person that you suggested that such and such speak to? So I reckon buyer's advocate ones, they're probably good referrals because if they close a deal, then that's going to be pretty good for everybody, right? So I felt that was the best thing that happened in my B&I slips world last week. So maybe sticking on that theory, so for me, I would love to work with people and continue to work with people in the real estate industry and particularly buyer's advocates, given that was an example. Next up is Adrian.
I am a marketing graduate from VU and I'm your Dify social media marketer here in Footscray, where I've lived, worked and played for a couple months now. My wins for the week would be a couple of referrals I received last week, and my client learning from last week would be from a meeting I had with Michelle from Ones and Twos Plumbing. I was able to provide a little bit more clarity, in particular around the Dropbox and how we can use certain photos and we can't use certain photos. So she was really happy with that information. I would really like to work with and for businesses, tradies. So I'm looking to connect with the landscapers this week. And up next is Anthony.
Hello, everyone. I'm a marketing graduate from La Trobe University, and I'm your Diffy social media marketer here in Epping, where I've lived, worked, and played for the last 5 years. I'm originally from country Victoria. My wins for the week, definitely getting into B&I business builders, and the client learning and support would be actually, it was growth training group as well. I've been seeing, like, after 1 week of post, or not even a week of posting, that there's getting views and likes on their posts like straight away, more than what normally would happen.
Also, I'm going to quiz you on another one. Sorry, that's a good one, but I didn't steal Ben's, so you stole mine. What about Sardi? You seem to be doing some really good posts around that one, and that's unique because that's got 18,500 people on Instagram, right? So that's unique for us.
Yeah, and Sardi as well. Just seeing that there's actually people interacting with the social media posts, and especially getting Google reviews every single day, which is obviously easier for them because they're a cafe, but it's blowing up my phone and I've had to turn down some notifications. But yeah, I'd like to continue to work with and for businesses who sponsor local sporting clubs. And up next is Emily.
Anthony, just so you know, this week, say exactly that around Sardi. It's blowing up your phone, right? That's a pretty good testimony for what we're doing, right? And don't ask for sports club, ask for cafes and restaurants.
Okay, I will do that.
Right. So basically, and the reason cafes and restaurants, I never thought they were very good for us, right? Because they're a little bit crossover entertainment rather than education, yeah? But here's the problem, or here's the opportunity for a cafe and a restaurant, is if they only think Facebook and Instagram, then they think of social media being, okay, I'm just going to post, then it's here today, gone tomorrow, right? But if they use a strategy like us, where we're still trying to get him to website, he's still seen now as a business owner, running a cafe business on LinkedIn. We're posting, through the company. It's a much more integrated approach. And now I don't know how many seconds you get, but the reality is, I might even talk about cafes because I haven't in the past. It's a much more integrated approach. So it's going to be really interesting to keep following that journey for a business that has 18,500 on Instagram, and we're building following and engagement and reach on the other platforms. Yeah. So, anyway, thanks for that. And it seems to be going really well. So that's awesome.
Good morning, everyone. My name's Emily. I am your marketing graduate from Rutgers University and currently studying for my master's at Griffith. I am your Diffy social media marketer here in Holland Park, Brisbane, where I've lived, worked, and played for just over a year. I'm originally from New Jersey. My win for the week was I did get a referral. It doesn't sound like she's quite ready for us. It sounds like that she's setting her website up, but it was good to be put in touch with a potential client. My client learning was with LimLive. We put together their report, and Steve and I looked at it, and for only 1 week of ad spend, they were already having really great results. So that just really proves how important targeted ad and campaigns are. So for this week, my B&I is still looking for a photographer, and I think that a photographer would fit really well with the little power group we've created. So if anyone knows any photographers in the Brisbane area, definitely let me know. Up next is Hannah.
Good morning, guys. My name is Hannah and I'm a marketing graduate from QT, and I'm your Diffy social media marketer here in Brisbane, Queensland, where I've lived, worked and played for 8 years. My win for the week would be we've got another new member in our BNI, and a woman electrician, which is pretty cool. And I've already started to see the referrals coming in. I got 2 this week. I don't know, more like inquiries about social media, like whether I'll be able to help them. But still, I've started getting, you know, more people in my chapter happily referring to me. My client learning experience for this week was Wendy, who is the marketing affiliate for the skincare brand, is sort of got particular views, and you know, so she sort of is cruelty-free, vegan, etc. So when I went about resharing my Wednesday post, I did, you know, natural ways to grow your hair, and then she messaged me saying, oh, I don't like this ingredient. So I said to Steve, like, look, she's quite demanding, not demanding, but she's got what she wants posted. And obviously that's not part of our job to go in and read a whole article and make sure it aligns with her. So I worked with Steve and we ended up messaging her to say, look, can we find something else that we can do so that you're always going to be happy regardless with what I post? So anyway, that's a great way just to talk to your client and try come up with a different solution so that, you know, I'm not spending more time deleting posts, reading articles, etc. So this week I would really like to work with and for businesses in, it's not really an industry, but BNI really wants a florist. So they do really well in BNI chapters apparently, and we're always searching for one, but because florists work in the morning, it's hard to find. But apparently if you get one that's got employees, they can send the employees to the BNI.
Exactly.
So next,
I think just before you go, so I think florist would be a great business for you to work with as well. So it'd be a great referral into your chapter and a great one for you to work with, I reckon.
Yeah.
Also, I think with that sort of one of the benefits and unintended, like today, sometimes when we just talk through these sort of things, but hear these stories, what you're saying there, Hannah, tell these stories to the people in your chapter, right? So there's some good stories you can tell there, right? So, you know, so that you spoke to this client this week and it's and they were really happy with the solution that you came up with, right? So that was awesome. Sorry, Ben, but well done, Hannah. Yeah, it's good.
All is well. Good morning, everyone. My name is Ben. I am your social media marketer here in Wanneroo, Perth. I've lived for the past 14 years. I am your marketing, advertising, and PR graduate from ECU. My wins for the week slash learnings. Or support for a client. I'm not too sure if I am over servicing Wayne, but essentially what I like to do when Wayne gets an inquiry via Facebook, I do give him a little heads up and they're like, hey, Wayne, you've got another inquiry via Facebook. And this week's was just nuts. It was just like, I messaged him 5 times in one day. I was like, hey, you've got an inquiry. Hey, you've got an inquiry. Hey, you've got an inquiry. And I was like, Jesus Christ, this is getting ridiculous. But it was good. He was very happy with that. And wins for the week, other than the disagreement with Steve on Friday, the setup for Denise went relatively smooth. Her social profiles do look all very nice and everything, so it's going to be exciting to get the planning session done tomorrow. And yeah, this week I'd really like to work with and for business. I'm going to stick with this one: businesses who actively want to be social and actively want to actually have a social media presence. I don't want to be working with people who I have to pull teeth to try and get information and encourage to get online and onto social media.
And that one with Wayne, that would be over-servicing, except that I'm thinking, Wayne, you've got a record, and they're all thank you for closed business that Wayne, if they actually convert and they're using, he should be, I've seen this happen in other chapters, right? He should be basically thanking you for closed business every time one of those people, if you're having to do that, then are you doing that at the moment? Is he putting that in?
So the thing is, he's just got, at this present moment in time, we just need to figure out, I need him to figure out if the inquiries are coming from people recommending him on Facebook or if people are coming from the advertisement. Because if they're coming from the advertisement, then that's directly with us. So if they're coming from recommendations from people recommending him on pages, that's not involved directly with us.
Yeah, but I was meaning if you're sending him a message to tell him to check out these 5 messages, it's still Facebook.
Mm.
So that's what I'd be saying is if he's not on active, if you're not there and you're not managing his presence, is he picking up those messages?
The reason why I do it is because within the first couple of weeks, I realized he'd missed a couple, not a lot. He's usually pretty on top of the ball, but I was like, he's missed a couple, and that means he's missed a couple of opportunities for business. So I'll just flick him a message whenever he gets one. So
I didn't say it, but last week I used your Google review as my 30 seconds at my chapter, right? And I basically said, so if you know a chapter that wants to be, a trade that wants to be busy as and very happy, then have them speak to me, right? So that's just proof, right, that he's busy as, and he's busy as because of you. So what you want to be feeling like is you don't have to spend too much time trying to work it out, and no one's hedging their bets here. He knows he's busy as, and he knows that it's predominantly as a result of what you're doing. So I would be just reminding him that it might just be the thank you for closed business that he does, but yeah, but there's 2 things, right? So you're both referring him, and then he's getting thank you for closed business from you, basically. So again, you don't need to do that work; he should. So let him decide how much it is, but just make sure he's doing it. That's all.
Yeah.
Because it sounds like you probably are giving him a little bit of extra time, but you're able to do that. It's still fairly early days, but yeah. You just want to, the benefit of that for you is that he's really happy, he's busy as, and really happy, which is awesome. Fabulous. All right, Adrian, round the room.
Okay, let's go. Emily, what was Anthony's win for the week?
Was it just getting in your BNI?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Sounds good.
And Anthony, what was Hannah's client learning for the week?
To work out how to work out a solution, or that she, you know what I'm trying to say. Yeah.
Okay, and let's go, Hannah. Who was Ben looking to connect with this week?
People who actively want to be social.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, I think it's time for the stretch now.
Is that me?
Yeah,
Right.
you.
Oh, damn it. I was just trying to stop share.
If you guys have the space, let's just do arm circles. So back 5. And then forward 5. And my cat just bit me. Can I help you? All right.
Anthony, you seem to be pretty reasonable at taking photos, Anthony. If you take the photo, do you need to suggest what pose we need to strike?
I don't know. I think if I'm taking a photo, someone else can sort out the pose.
I was thinking, how do you do happy as? I don't know.
No, I don't know. Just a nice big grin.
Okay, happy as, that'll do. Yeah, nice big grin will work where it works.
Where is it? Command Shift 3. That's it. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Beautiful.
I feel like I closed my eyes. But anyway, your background is pretty good on your one too. Just want to take a moment, folks, just to take a few moments out, coffee or stretch. Yep. Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah, I might go get a coffee.
Can I help you?
Where are you going for?
Sat in the chair and it made a noise. Good job.
Is that coming through by any chance? Did you guys hear that voice?
Just you. Can you do that?
Cheers.
Oh, this is the video you posted.
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched that this morning.
You did watch it already?
Well, I was nervous that I was gonna, because I didn't watch last week, so I was like, I have to remember to watch the video he posts.
The givers and takers last week.
Yeah, I didn't watch that one.
Is this coming through, by the way? If I do?
No.
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 What are you doing?
See if I can work out how to share the had it before where the audio was coming through, but for some reason this time it's not, right? What I might let you do, if I can,
Maybe because you got your headphones on.
I was going to say headphones.
do you reckon?
Maybe
Okay. Let's
I
try
reckon just make
headphones then. See what happens there. But wouldn't headphones just mean that it
it just means it means it should only come through to you if you've got headphones on. If this one,
okay.
Now, we have broken this into
There it
multiple
is.
chapters.
Yeah,
You
you
find
get
those
it?
chapters in the play bar and in the description below.
You're
and
right,
you can jump right to whatever you want to learn.
Yeah.
And if you stick around to the end, I've got an amazing bonus on how you can get
Can you
discovered
put it full screen?
awesome platform. So let's get familiar with the basic functions of a room. A room in Clubhouse is just like a room inside of a conference hall. You walk into a room and you first see people up on the stage. Whenever you're inside of a room, you can click the Leave Quietly button and very, very easily leave the room. The raised hand icon in the bottom center of the app allows anyone in the room to click it, and then the moderators are notified and they can decide to bring you up on the stage. In some cases, the raised hand feature will be grayed out, and that is because the moderator decided to turn off the raising hands feature. And when that happens, everyone in the room is notified that the raising hands feature has been turned off. This is usually done when you're in a room and they're doing some sort of a presentation and they don't want to be distracted by anyone raising their hands. But that can always be turned back on by the moderator whenever they want to. The plus sign allows you to ping in someone who you are following into the room. So if you're in a room and you find some content really interesting, you can hit that plus sign and you can search for individuals and you can click on them and all of a sudden they will be pinged right into the room. Anyone who's speaking inside the room will have a shape around their head, and that's how you know who's speaking. The mute sign in the bottom right-hand corner is how you mute and unmute yourself. Now, here's something really interesting. When you are on the stage and someone on the stage says something really valuable, you can mute and unmute yourself in rapid succession as a way of applauding. And by doing that, that's sending a signal to everyone in the room that I appreciate what Mitch just said. Whenever you go up on stage, the general protocol is to always mute yourself. If you forget to do that, sometimes moderators will do that for you. This just allows the background noise to kind of be removed from the app. Now, one of the cool things about being in a room is you can go ahead and click on any person's bio. It can be someone on the stage. It can be someone in the audience. If you click on someone's bio and then you swipe up, you can see how many followers they have and who is following them. You can click on who this person is following, and when you do that, you're going to begin to see a series of clubs that this person follows, and as you continue to scroll down the screen, all the individuals that this person is following, and you might begin to want to follow some of these other people. Here's why this is important. There is an algorithm that makes a decision about what content to show you based on who you are following. There's also a bio that describes what this person's all about, and if you go to the very bottom, you will also see access to this person's Twitter account and their Instagram account. And this is really important. There is no private messaging on this app. This is why you want to, for sure, attach your Twitter account and attach your Instagram account, even if you're not active on these platforms. Because a lot of people will check you out and they'll say, hey, I was in a Clubhouse with you and I loved what you said. A lot of the networking happens off platform over on Instagram. At the very bottom of someone's bio are the clubs that they belong to. Now, clubs are a fascinating facet inside of Clubhouse. Clubs create their own content, and clubs have members and followers. So if you look at all these clubs, these little tiny circles, you can click on any one of them, for example, the OG club, and you can see what that club is all about. You can see who the creator of that club is because they're the very first person listed on the app. You can begin to follow some of the people in the club. There are clubs on everything you could possibly imagine. I belong to the Star Wars Universe Club. I'm hoping to start a Social Media Examiner Club. So the key thing is you want to follow clubs, and if possible, you want to join clubs. This will help create a better experience within the app. When you click on someone's bio, you have a couple of options. One option is to obviously follow them. Now, here's something really important to understand. There is a bell to the left of the bio. If you click on that bell, it will say always, sometimes, and never ever. The magic of this app is that whenever someone you follow goes up on the stage, you get notifications. And these notifications can get a little crazy because some people take the stage a lot. There are some people you might not ever want to be notified when they go up on the stage. The default is sometimes. But there are some people that you always want to be notified when they go up on the stage. And in that case, you want to click always. And when you do that, it's going to change the icon the way you see right here. To the right of following is also a little icon that has some stars inside of it. If you click on it, it's going to show you people that are like that person, and it allows you to scroll through and find other people to follow. I'm going to share a little bit more about setting up your own profile, but if you love what you've heard so far, please click the like button. It really makes a difference. You will see your photograph in the upper right-hand corner. If you click on that, this is where you can begin to edit your profile. Now, I want to draw your attention to the gear in the upper right corner. The first thing that you'll notice is the notifications that come up. What I strongly recommend is you turn off trending rooms and you choose frequency to very infrequent. Trust me on this one, because you're going to get notifications nonstop if you don't set it to very infrequent. I also want to draw your attention to interests. When you first set up this app, you probably were asked to push a couple of different buttons to indicate what you're interested in. But there's a lot more located here under interests. For example, if we scroll down to the one called Hustle, this is where you can find entrepreneurship, small business, Clubhouse, and if you go under tech, for example, you can find marketing. I recommend you click on everything that you're interested in because this helps tell the algorithm the types of content that you're interested in. We're still in the room together. We're going to now click on all rooms. When we click on all rooms, we're still in the room. You can always get back there just by clicking on those first two faces in the bottom left. In addition, you can still raise your hand. You can still peace out. You can still mute and unmute yourself. But while you're in the room, you can peruse what's known as the hallway. And in the hallway, you're going to see all sorts of content that has been algorithmically curated based on your interests, based on the clubs that you belong to, based on the people that you follow. Now, depending on what time of day you're in the app, you might not see a lot of activity going on. So if you go all the way to the bottom, you're going to see a little button that says Explore. And that's going to open up a lot more opportunity for you. For example, Undercover Billionaire Q&A with Grant Cardone. You're also going to see this big green button that says Start a Room. And it's always going to be there, and it's always going to be alluring to you. Start a room, start a room, start a room. So when you click on Start a Room, you're going to see a couple of options that come up. First of all, there's open rooms, there's social rooms, and there's closed rooms. Open rooms are spontaneous rooms that you can create and people will just pop into automatically. Social rooms are only for the people within your social network. Closed rooms are only for people that you follow. You can tell you're in a closed room because there's going to be a lock sign next to it. The important thing about starting a room is to click Add a Topic. This is where you get the opportunity to write in a description of the room. Once you're done with that, I'm just going to say test, you hit set topic. And you can always edit that before you start the room, but you cannot edit it after you've started the room. If you're going to start up a room, consider making someone else a moderator just in case, for whatever reason, the app boots you out of the room. That way the room will not be closed. In addition, when you are a moderator of a room, you have the ability to ask anybody from the audience straight up on the stage whether they've raised their hands or not. You also have the ability to mute people as they come onto the stage. In addition, you can take anyone and you can move them back to the audience, or you can go ahead and give them full moderation status. Someone is a moderator when they have the little green dot next to their face, and they have full control of the room just like you do. In addition, the moderator can decide to turn on the hand raising feature if they want to. Any moderator can take a room that is private and click the open it up button, and all of a sudden it becomes a public room. If you decide to do that, you just want to make sure you title the room appropriately. I've had typos in rooms before and had to restart rooms before I opened them up to the public. All right, we're still in the room. We're going to click back into the hallway. When you're in the hallway, you can swipe left, and all of a sudden, you're going to see every person that you follow and what rooms that they're in. This little telephone-looking icon on the bottom right will be the same as the swipe left. For example, I can see that Judy Fox is in a room called Day 2 of 5. Sue B. Zimmerman is in the room called What It Takes to Run a $1 million Business Likely. I can click on any one of these faces and I can go right into that room or on their description. Now to the right, you will see a little green icon that has plus room. If I click that, it's going to prompt whoever is one of my followers in here to come into a private room with me. So don't click that unless you really want to. As you continue to scroll down, you'll notice that the dot on the face of individuals goes from dark green to light green, and there's a minute indicator. It tells you how long it's been since those individuals have been on the platform. I want to draw your attention to what happens up here on the top of the app. The magnifying glass opens up an incredible opportunity for you to discover people to follow and clubs to follow. If you click on it, first thing you'll notice it says find people in clubs, and you can type in Stelzner, for example, and you can see there I am, and you can go ahead and follow me. If there was a club called Stelzner, you could click on clubs and find it. In addition, there is the people to follow. The first amounts of people that you're going to see in here are people who have your phone number in their contact on their phone that you might know. After that, you're going to begin to see people that are algorithmically people that the app thinks that you're interested in. As you continue to scroll down, this is the equivalent of a directory of all of the clubs on Clubhouse. For example, if you remember, under Hustle, were some interesting categories. One of them was Instagram. So if we go on Instagram, we're going to see people interested in Instagram, and we're also going to see clubs that are Instagram related. And this is an awesome way for you to begin to discover a lot more people to follow and clubs to follow, so that that curation of content in the hallway becomes highly customized to you. It's worth saying that there are thousands of rooms going on at any given time, and you're only seeing a small fragment of them. That's why it's so important to make sure that you curate your interests and you're following appropriately within this app. Let's talk about the notifications bell. It's going to be red when there's important notifications. You're going to notice the amount of people who have started following you. You can click on this little paragraph and you can scroll through the list, and if you recognize anyone, you can begin to follow them. As of this recording, this is an invite-only platform. Now, this is where you'll find your invitations. This envelope with the star indicator at the top, if you click on it, you will see how many.
Okay, I reckon I might, just looking at time, let you guys can watch probably the balance of that. That'd be okay. Later on. Does that sound okay?
Yeah. Does that mean yeah?
So essentially what I've done, I've sent an invite to Adrian, I've sent an invite to Emily, and I've sent an invite to Hannah. Adrian will then invite you, Anthony, because he'll have an invite. So I only had 3 invites.
Yeah.
My intent had been to invite Ben and then have Emily invite Hannah, or vice versa. But because Ben's not got iPhone, Adrian will need to invite you as his invite, right?
Yeah.
We'll talk about it more, but I just wanted to, any immediate questions or thoughts around that?
No.
It was just the fact that, so like I can't just download the app and get on it. That's interesting.
Yeah, I think you can. No, you can. You can download it. You've got to actually, you go in there in the first instance and actually put your details in, and then once you go to so in actual fact, the answer is that they prepare your profile. So just use your LinkedIn photo. So you can actually sign into the app, but you can't use it till you're invited, or effectively till they've prepared your profile and invited. But that happens pretty quickly. So yeah, Hannah and Emily, you'd need to download the app first. Same with you, Adrian. Download the app. Ben, I'm not sure what we do as far as how we get you on and what we should do there. And I'm assuming that it's only iPhone for now, in the same way as it's so limited in terms of invitations at the moment, is because they don't want to get overwhelmed. It's apparently it's
very new.
Since Elon Musk and I think Mark Zuckerberg went on it, and all of a sudden that's created this buzz around it, particularly in the States, right?
Right.
So hence there's that, what do they call it? FOMO, fear of missing out.
Yeah, correct. Good job.
And so what's happened is that's been created with this particular app, right?
Yes.
So we'll be on it. I was saying to Adrian, what I'd like to do and what I think would be advantageous for us is we might transfer Friday afternoon bubbles at 4:00 to Diffy Social Club, right? So we'll create a Diffy Social Club on there, which makes it especially painful if Ben can't get on, because Ben's the most reliable turner-upper at Diffy Social bubbles o'clock. But the idea of that would be then that our clients, our network, our interested others could come and have a chat with a marketer around the 6 main social media and how we use that. It's basically like an Ask a Marketer type session from a Diffy Social perspective, right? Again, I don't know whether that would happen this week, but it's something that I have in mind that I think would be good. You know how it's almost like a drop-in session for people. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You reckon it'd be?
I guess.
Yeah.
I guess Ben could listen along on here or something. You could just have the audio.
Have an audio section available.
That will make me feel just
have the audio sort of playing, and you could listen along through this.
Yeah. As if Ben's not already isolated enough.
Yeah, you know what? As if I'm not isolated enough and I'm being the only one in the western part of Australia. Let's just isolate me from my technology as well.
Yeah.
Hey man, that was a choice. You chose that life.
I didn't even know there was a western part of Australia to begin with.
Did you say it was my choice to stay here in WA? I was 10.
No. It's your choice to have an Android.
Yeah, that's
right. What do you meant my choice to stay here? I was 10. I didn't get much say. I'll be honest with you.
No.
All right. So I guess clearly from a systems perspective, the main thing to talk about is Clubhouse app. It'll make us early adopters. I have a feeling there's going to be all sorts of benefits, even from a B&I perspective, right? And I was saying one of the reasons I wanted Ben is because for somebody like Denise, who's from Bass and Balances, this is tailor-made for those people that want to have an audience and want to talk about a specialization.
Yeah,
it's really tailor-made for those people, right?
I immediately thought of Roy.
Oh well, Roy's the only reason I'm on it, right? So, couldn't
say no to him.
It's a bit like Slack. Does anyone else's B&I have Slack?
I
know of
university.
Slack. Yeah.
I know of Slack.
Yeah, I know of Slack too. But I must admit, as I said to you, I was kind of a little bit. I'm not sure. Is it just something like Periscope or whatever that happened at one stage? On Twitter. To me, it is the latest buzzy thing, but I think it's certainly something with TikTok that is a good little add to our repertoire in terms of at least we're knowledgeable of it, right? That when people then will start asking us questions, you will be able to say, "Oh no, I don't think you need to go and see to understand what it actually is." To me, it's addictive is one thing, right? And I can tell there is people on there that they're on there every waking hour of the day, right? and they're using it as their pure networking form instead of say B&I. They're just using it as a way of networking, building strategic lists, whatever it might well be. On those other platforms he mentioned, right? So it's pretty easy to then go and connect with people you've just been in a room with on LinkedIn, right? Because you've already just heard from them. And one of the guys explained it to me that it basically gives voice to LinkedIn, which I think is probably true. It gives voice to people that you might not already be connected on LinkedIn, and for people that you are connected with, all of a sudden you're now in a room with those people in the same way as we go to a room each week with B&I, right? So it actually will add layers to our LinkedIn connections, particularly, I reckon. Yeah. Awesome. I don't think there's too much else to talk about in this part. I did add Lauren to our final slide, just so you know. Thanks for that. This is just for us, but it was a good pickup last week. Done. Any Adrian, you all good for your week ahead?
Yep, all good. I just downloaded the Clubhouse from the link you sent, so I've just got to fill out the profile later for that.
Oh yeah, I should put to you that's not something, particularly with you guys, if you've got heavy load of scheduling like Adrian often does. Yeah, put it in your in your do list.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes, I've got a bit of scheduling to do today. I got a call with a potential client later on as well. A client's meant to be calling me back today. Got a meeting with another client tomorrow. Got to prepare for my presentation next week. I think that's about it. Just got to call a few more clients as well. Yeah. What do you have on, Ben, this week?
BNI is back in person this week, which is good. So I've got that. We've got a planning session with Denise tomorrow. We've got, what else have I got? I've got to go to a Facebook advertising event in the city on Wednesday morning. I got invited to by some former marketers, or some marketers from my uni. They're like, do you want to come check this out? I was like, yeah, all right, I'll come check it out. Why not? It's free. And I need to inquire about BNI evolution, because I know the graphic guys asked if I could come back to see the graphic designer do his speech. So that's on Friday. So I think that will be an engagement Wednesday, and yeah, that's about it.
Cool.
Anthony?
Yeah, fair bit of scheduling today, and Steve, about your property investment. That's what I was going to bring up. Remember how on Friday I was like, there's something about Hootsuite. So just stand by. There might be some issues there because it'll be the first time I'm logging in.
Yeah, no worries.
But yeah, I think it should be okay. And just BNI, my first BNI that I'm going to be involved with. So yeah, I'll do some preparation for that tomorrow.
Also, Steve mentioned earlier that maybe in the future we could look at subbing for each other, because we're both our meetings at the same time.
Yeah, once everybody's settled, that capacity makes you and Adrian could do a switch one week just to sort of go to each other. I mean, it's something Emily and Hannah could always consider too.
Yep.
But Emily and Hannah don't need to do a switch. They can always have each other potentially as subs. Whereas you guys because you're on the same morning and you're both online. That's all.
Yeah. Give me a month.
Yeah,
we'll talk
give you a
about
bit of time first.
Exactly.
Hannah?
Just scheduling today. Engagement on Wednesday. BNI on Wednesday, one-to-ones. I normally do like some BNI today, like some CEU stuff. Apparently our BNI is now doing presentations in alphabetical order randomly, so I will be doing another presentation, I think, in the next 2 weeks, Steve. I was thinking of doing like focusing on Facebook advertising. Is that something I could do? Or do you want me to follow the same sort of structure?
I think you're better off. You can have that as an added slide maybe, but no, because then if you tend to niche into one, then it makes us a niche in a niche. So you can highlight.
I just wanted to stress that how good Facebook advertising is.
What you can,
because they all ask about it.
Yeah, so you could basically highlight a reporting of what actually this is the result as a result of. So we do management, then you do the reporting. You can show my essence, and this is one that's advertising at $5 a day for this and this, and then you're basically telling them, right? So of why advertise realistically. That's the idea.
Yeah. Okay.
Show off.
That's it.
Show off one of
the figures. They all said that. Now that I've started talking about the results, it's the drawing them in more.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Good point.
Okay, Emily?
So I have BNI tomorrow morning and a couple one-to-ones, and I actually did some research on BNIs back at home, and I found one that has actually 2 business partners from my old job in it. So I reached out to a woman I was on. Actually, I used to run a social media committee, and one of the women at that BNI, sorry, the guy's mowing the lawn, is in that BNI. So I reached out to her, and she said she'd be more than happy to invite Steve and I. So either this week or next week, hopefully we can work that out, which would be super fun.
Ooh, if I stay in lockdown, I might go to London again, or not London, but England too. I'll let you guys know if I go there, and maybe, I don't know, Ben, if that's of interest. Depending on what, I think for you it would be a early evening sort of time slot, but I'll let you know.
It's like 1 or 2. I think that's all right. It's not too bad.
Yeah, Steve, yours is probably going to run to midnight for you if you go to Jersey. So just be ready.
I can handle that as a once off. I'm sure. That's
okay.
Revert back to old Steve, staying up late. New Steve has to go to bed a bit earlier nowadays.
Yeah, because it'll probably be till 12:30.
We'll make it happen. Sounds good. All right, folks. Have an awesome day today, and I'll see you. If not before, I'll see you tomorrow, Ben. I'll see everybody else on Wednesday.
Sounds good, Steve.
Definitely.
See
you guys.
See you guys. Thank you. Bye.